moments where the world feels slightly off. A voice you recognize says something familiar, but the timing, the place, the situation, none of it makes sense. And by the time you realize something is wrong, it's too late to take it back. Tonight's Stories is one of those moments. Hello, paranormal poet. My name is Cece, and this experience is one I find difficult to wrap my head around. This happened in the spring of 2023. I had just finished my shift at McAllister's Deli. Nothing unusual, just another long day of sandwiches, iced tea, and the usual lunch rush. My feet were sore, and all I wanted to do was get back to my apartment, collapse on the couch, and not move until morning. I finally reached the apartment complex, walked up the familiar steps, and stood in front of my door. My hands were full, so instead of fumbling for my keys, I called out for my sister to open up. "Hey, can you get the door?" I shouted. From inside, I heard her voice reply, clear as day, "I'm on my way." Relieved, I shifted my weight and glanced towards the window that faced the living room. That's when I saw it. The overhead light in the living room had turned on. It didn't strike me as odd at first. The light coming on made sense. My sister had heard me, and she was probably on her way to the door right now. I waited. 30 seconds passed, then a full minute. I could hear the faint hum of the light inside, but no footsteps, no sound of any movement. I knocked again, a little louder this time. Still nothing. 2 minutes turned into 5. I stood there awkwardly. My mind started to wonder. Maybe she got distracted. Maybe she went back to her room. But then, why hadn't she opened the door at all? And that's when I heard footsteps coming from the opposite direction. My mom was walking up the stairs, just getting home from work. She looked surprised to see me there, still outside. "Why haven't you gone in?" she asked. I explained that my sister said she was coming to the door, but never did. My mom frowned, pulled out her phone, and began to call her. What happened next made my stomach drop. My sister had answered, sounding confused. She was at her boyfriend's house. She hadn't been home all day. I froze. "That's impossible," I told my mom. "I heard her voice. She told me she was coming." Mom unlocked the door and stepped inside first. Her eyes immediately went to the living room. The lights on. And she swore with a certainty that made my skin crawl that she had turned it off before leaving for work earlier that day. We searched the apartment. No one else was there. Windows were locked, nothing was missing, but there was a heaviness in the air, a kind of tension you can't quite describe. Years have passed since that incident, and my mom tells me it could have been a mimic. That's what she called it, at least. A type of spirit or entity that copies the voices of your loved ones so as to lure you or to confuse you. She told me the apartment had a history of bad energy even before we moved in. Now, I never was one to believe in the paranormal. My mom, on the other hand, was a definite believer in the paranormal. We had crystals placed around the house, believing that they would offer some sort of spiritual protection. This story I mainly keep under mental filters, trying to justify that my sister was a damn good liar and just wanted to be her annoying self. But considering that her car was later seen pulling into the driveway, I knew something was definitely up. Maybe my mom was right. Maybe the crystals weren't enough. Or maybe the environment we grew up in gave way to a legitimate haunting. Either way, I don't know what I heard that night, or who, or what turned that light on. But I do know for a fact, it wasn't my sister.